Hello, you're watching Tuesday edition of News Mongolia. Today is August 30th. For our top stories, Mongolia and the Republic of Korea to strengthen bilateral cooperation in 5 areas. Enhancing women's participation in Economic Development National Forum held on August 29th. Households are growing apple trees in the GOBI region. For other news, stay tuned. South Korean Foreign Minister Park Jin is paying an official visit to Mongolia from August 28th through 30th. On Monday, he held official talks with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, Batsitsik, and paid a courtesy call to the President of Mongolia, Hurusukh. During the official talks, the foreign ministers agreed to expand and strengthen bilateral cooperation in 5 areas.
Minister Batsitsik expressed confidence that Minister Park's visit to Mongolia will contribute to strengthening strategic partnership, strengthening friendly relations between the people of the two countries, and intensifying trade, investment, and economic cooperation. Mongolia and the Republic of Korea has shared values in terms of democracy, human rights, freedom, and market economies. The parties agreed to intensify political dialogue and strengthen mechanisms for strategic dialogue on foreign policy, security, and defense issues. These mechanisms include meetings of the Joint Committee of the Governments of Mongolia and the Republic of Korea, and the strategic consultation meeting of their Foreign Affairs Ministry with plans to schedule regular meetings this year. The parties agreed to pay more attention to economic priority areas such as transportation, logistics, tourism, energy, mining, and agriculture. They also discussed implementing joint mega projects in development aligned with Mongolia's long-term development policy Vision 2050 and the policies of South Korea's newly formed cabinet. Foreign Minister Park Jin also paid a courtesy call to the President of Mongolia, Hurusukh. President Hurusukh praised the work being implemented under the Declaration on Mongolia and South Korea's strategic partnership. He noted that the foreign minister's visit would make an important contribution to reinforcing the strategic partnership and friendship between the South Korean and Mongolian people. The president also expressed gratitude for South Korea's active support of the Ulaanbaatar dialogue on Northeast Asian security. Minister Park expressed his commitment to expanding relations and cooperation in all fields and presented an official letter from the newly elected South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol inviting President Hurusukh to visit South Korea.
The Enhancing Women's Participation in Economic Development National Forum was held at the Government Palace on August 29th. The forum addressed the problems faced by medium-sized and startup businesses led by women entrepreneurs in Mongolia and how to solve them. 71% of enterprises with more than 200 employees have male directors. However, 80% of women in small and medium-sized enterprises have about 10 employees. There are many other challenges for female entrepreneurs.
The difference between political parties make it difficult to run a business the way we want. People can make their own bread and they are able to grow vegetables. We are able to produce, but the issue of collateral is difficult.
Collateral is a challenge for women trying to grow their businesses. According to a recent study, men own 1.5 times more real estate than women.
Usually, real estate is registered under the name of a son or husband. Women face collateral-related struggles when starting a business. Women dominate the micro-business sector, but they lack capital security and economic capacity. Business knowledge is also very critical for women entrepreneurs.
According to Asian Development Bank, if Mongolia develops its small and medium enterprises sector, the gross domestic product per capita could increase by 0.5% and the country's economy would expand by 60% with 30 years.
We have to improve childcare services, increase access to kindergartens, and there is a need for more credit and financial products available to women entrepreneurs.
During the forum, President of Mongolia Khurelsukh noted that the government is focusing on sustainable development and that he will pay special attention to the issues being faced by women entrepreneurs.
My personal mission is to ensure that government organizations, related authorities and officials work to protect women from violence and discrimination and to support women entrepreneurs.
The forum participants say that increasing the availability of new banking and financial products and services to support women entrepreneurs will positively impact the local economy. A young family has successfully planted apple trees in the GOBI region, proving that apples can be grown in the desert with proper care. Ochirbat moved to Dondai province to become a civil servant. His family's new home is in a semi-desert, but they decided to try growing, starting with 10 Russian apple trees. Despite many challenges, their experiment was a success.
The apple trees produce flowers and fruit in the third year. At the time we harvested a couple of apples from a single tree. This year all of our trees fully bloomed and produce apples.
The family enjoys offering apples to their guests. The family says growing apple trees is even an effective pastime for their children.
Actually, there wasn't a secret method for growing apple trees in the Gobi. It was all about diligent watering and constant care. We learned that young parents can grow an apple orchard in their yard.
In their fourth year of caring for their trees, Ochirbat's family had a full harvest from their apple trees. They are happy to be finding a way to enjoy the apples they have grown in the desert region. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here comes the international news from our partner agencies. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said on Monday a mission by the UN's nuclear watchdog to visit the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, would be the hardest in the history of the International Atomic Energy Agency.
But without an exaggeration, this mission will be the hardest in the history of IAEA, given the active combat activities undertaken by the Russian Federation on the ground, and also the very blatant way that Russia is trying to legitimize its presence at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
Those comments come after the IAEA said earlier in the day that its top experts were traveling to the facility, even as renewed shelling in the area highlighted fears of a catastrophe. Speaking in Stockholm, Kuleba said that he expected from the mission a clear statement of facts. IAEA Director General Rafael Grossi has for months sought access to the Zaporizhzhia plant, which has been occupied by Russian forces and run by Ukrainian workers since the early days of the 6-month-old war.
Good morning. This is a question.
Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron said continued fighting around Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was a source of grave concern. He stressed the importance of the International Atomic Energy Agency's mission to the area to ensure the safety of the region. Speaking alongside Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki in Paris, he said Ukrainian sovereignty over Europe's largest nuclear power plant, which has been occupied by Russian forces from the outset of the invasion, must not be disputed.
The situation around the Zaporizhzhia plant is obviously what worries us the most. We've done everything we could these past few days to help the IAEA mission. I spoke again on the phone yesterday with Mr. Rafael Grossi before he left early this morning for Ukraine, and we have a common concern. Firstly, nuclear safety and security shouldn't be compromised in this war, so this mission is important. It must protect this plant and the safety and security of the entire region. Secondly, Ukrainian sovereignty over this nuclear plant must not be disputed. Nuclear energy must not be a war tool, and it is important to defend the Ukrainian sovereignty of this nuclear plant.
Morawiecki accused Russia of declaring an energy war on Europe. He said Europe must stand united against Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We can also see that this gas blackmail by Vladimir Putin in the autumn that Europe was exposed to almost a year ago was at the same time to start off the energy war declared on all of Europe, and for that reason it is good to ask oneself in such a situation how best to defend ourselves from such crises. Definitely, first of all, when we are united we can defend ourselves better from the crises. United we stand, divided we fall, as we tell ourselves, and for that unity I want to say thank you. But united does not mean forced into the same mold. Europe is the home of many countries, the European Union is the home of 27 countries, so variety must also be respected, must be as if it's our second name.
The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station in southeastern Ukraine is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe and among the 10 largest in the world. U.S. Special Envoy for Climate John Kerry met with Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis in Athens on Monday and highlighted the connection between the oceans and climate change. Two officials met at the Maximus mansion. During the meeting, the challenges of climate change and the deepening of the cooperation between the two countries to deal with the climate crisis and achieve the goal of zero emissions by 2050 were discussed. The discussion was particularly concerned with the preparation of the organization of the international conference, Our Ocean Conference, in 2024 in Greece. From August 30th to September 1st, Secretary Kerry will travel to Bali, Indonesia to attend the G20 Climate and Environment Ministerial Meeting, where he will meet with government counterparts to further enhance cooperation on the climate crisis and highlight the positive climate impact of the Inflation Reduction Act. Secretary Kerry will then travel to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, September 2nd through 4th, and Hanoi, Vietnam, September 4th to 6th, to meet with government officials, civil society representatives, and business leaders to build consensus on key actions to address the climate crisis and accelerate the transition to a clean energy economy. This trip will also be an opportunity to engage in discussions on climate cooperation ahead of the 27th Conference of the Parties to the UNFCCC, to be hosted in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, November 6th through 18th, 2022. Now let's take a look at our regular feature on sports. American great Serena Williams' impending farewell to the court will understandably grab most of the attention when an intriguing U.S. Open packed with storylines begins on Monday.
Gates opened to fans on Monday morning at the 2022 U.S. Open as excitement builds for Serena Williams' potential career finale. Williams headlines the first day of action at this year's tournament at Flushing Meadows as she prepares to say goodbye to an event she has won 6 times. Earlier this month, the 40-year-old published an essay in Vogue magazine saying she was prepared to begin evolving away from tennis to focus on having a second child and pursuing her business interests. Williams will face 27-year-old Montenegrin Danka Kovinic in the first round on Monday night. British teenager Emma Raducanu's defense of the women's singles title is another fascinating proposition, while British men's number 1 Cameron Norrie tries to back up his run to the Wimbledon semi-finals with another strong performance at the major. Spain's Rafael Nadal has only played once since pulling out of Wimbledon through injury, but has the chance to extend his men's singles record of 22 major titles, with nearest rival Novak Djokovic not allowed to play. The 35-year-old Serb, whose one major title adrift, is unvaccinated against COVID-19 and is not allowed to enter the United States as a result.
A Mickey Mantle baseball card has been sold for $12.6 million to become the most valuable piece of sports memorabilia ever sold at auction.
The previous record of £7.1 million was held by the shirt worn by footballer Diego Maradona when he scored the Hand of God goal at the 1986 World Cup. Maradona's Argentina shirt was sold in May at Sotheby's in London. A century-old T206 Honus Wagner card sold this month for £6.2 million held the previous record for a sports card. Mantle was considered to be one of the best switch hitters, a batter who regularly bats both right and left-handed in baseball history. He played his entire Major League Baseball career with the New York Yankees from 1951 to 68, helping them to win 12 American League pennants and 7 World Series, and was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1974. The record-breaking card is from his rookie season and was issued by the collectible company Topps in 1952. The card was owned by Anthony Giordano, a waste management entrepreneur from New Jersey, who bought it for $50,000 in 1991. Heritage said it was graded a mint 9.5 out of 10 by Sports Card Guarantee Corporation, which authenticates and grades trading cards.
Here comes the weather forecast for the world's major cities. This is it for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.